we don't have to tell him that. It's Duke's world. We're just living in it. What in the school disco is going on here? Hello everybody and welcome back to my podcast, Esme's Country Life. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about my pony Duke's little holiday that he's been on, his little vacay. Also, I'm going to be talking about electric fence disasters, something that went very badly wrong that I feel quite bad about. And then also I'm going to be talking about a concert I went to recently, which is a little bit different for me. But anyway, before we begin, I just want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of the podcast, Red Post. Red Post is an equestrian and country store based in the UK, but they also ship all over the world. And guys, feel like, don't come at me for this one, but autumn is round the corner. It's coming to the end of summer now. And do you know what that means? It means it won't be long till winter, so stock up on your rugs for your horses, because I'm this person, autumn rolls around, I'm like, oh my goodness, their winter rugs from last year are destroyed. They need new ones. So get down to Red Post, check them out at redpostequestrian.co.uk and get your equestrian autumn and winter needs from them in advance. But anyway, let's get into today's episode. Starting off, thought we'd start with my pony Duke. So if you didn't know, Duke, my little guy, he is a 4-year-old Welshie, he's a grey, and he is actually from Wild Horse Welfare, a charity that I'm patron for, and we rehomed him over 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago to the day that I'm recording this. A few days ago, it was Duke's Gotcha Day. I don't know if that's like a thing that people say. It's something that I've only really heard the last couple of years people say, but it's kind of like the anniversary that you brought your pet home from wherever they came from. So yeah, Duke is a rescue pony. I've got loads of stories about him and his story on my channel. But anyway, so Wild Horse Welfare, yes, they were like, hey, celebrate, you rehoming him for 3 years. And also they were launching something called Stable Squad, which is very cool. If you haven't heard of that, please go and check it out. What it is basically you sign up, you're part of the squad, the money goes towards Wild Horse Welfare and obviously the charity and helping horses. You also get a little toy Lemure pony with it, which is very cute, which is exclusive at the moment. They're like little mini ones. You also get 3 magazines a year, you get stickers. Obviously this is aimed at my kind of younger audience. However, I have actually had one lady who is 27 message me that she's joined up to Stable Squad, and also somebody else who is 51. So I do have a very broad audience of all ages. So yeah, thank you to you guys who joined up, because they're like, look, I mean, to be fair, I was very excited about the little mini pony as well. But also, it raises money for Wild Horse Welfare. It does a lot of good, so please check it out and join up if you can, or donate to Wild Horse Welfare, because they are an incredible charity that do incredible things with horses. And I would hate to think what would have happened to Duke if they had never taken him in his time of need. But anyway, so yes, they were launching that. Basically, I'm filming this I'm recording this podcast the day after I did my meet and greet. So I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who came to my meet and greet, who came and said hello. You were all so lovely, and also a lot of you got to meet Duke as well, which was awesome. So, all of you got to meet Duke actually. So I'm going to be talking about that a little bit later. But first, the other day I needed to get Duke ready for going to Wild Horse Welfare. So one thing that you might know is that every kind of 6 months we get a random check from someone from Wild Horse Welfare. They bring us up being like, hello, this day is Duke's checking day. We're going to come and make sure that he's all good and that you're looking after him properly. So we get that. But this was like the biggest check, because he was going back to them, and he was going back to all the people that used to care for him when he was a baby. And it kind of felt like, I feel like a mother, and my child has grown up and he's gone off to spread his wings, and he's leaving me for a week to go to kind of like camp or something, like summer camp. And I was like, oh my goodness, I hope he's a good boy. I hope he doesn't like embarrass me too much. I hope he's like, I don't know, do you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, I really hope he puts his best behavior on, that he's not, I mean, not that he's naughty or anything, but at the end of the day, horses are horses, they're animals. They're all of my horses are very quirky, but he's normally very well behaved. And I was like, I just really hope that stays the same. But anyway, so before he was being picked up, where, can I just say, he was being picked up in style. So we knew we were going to do this meet and greet, and we had like a whole game plan with Wild Horse Welfare, because obviously Duke's happiness and well-being is our top priority. So this boy, he was traveling in class. They were like, oh, no, we've rescheduled the person that's going to pick him up. He had a horse box with air conditioning, with everything. I was like, what else is in the back there? Is there like a mini bar or something? Like, I was thinking, cool, maybe there's somebody there that's going to like massage his hooves. Like, he was going in full style, like an A-class celebrity that he is. Anyway, so we're like, okay, Duke, we need to give you a pamper session beforehand. So I gave him a good old groom, gave him a little bath, washed his tail, because that is the one thing that is always absolutely filthy. So got some blue and purple shampoo on that and just let it soak for a little bit. And I was like, okay, Duke, you need to be looking, you know, incredible. It needs to be a good hair day. So we got him all pampered up, all looking good, even oiled his hooves, so he was looking super cute, when normally, he is always super cute, don't get me wrong. That boy, he is adorable. But there are some times where, you know, horses, they just like to go and they like to get dirty, and it's always before a big event or something, or a show. So I was like, okay, Duke, you need to look good. Then it was time for Duke to be picked up, and this is where it came to my head. I was like, maybe I should have done some loading practice with him, because last time he went in a horse box was when he was being dropped off at our house. Oh no, when we were picking him up, from World Horse Welfare 3 years ago. And he was only 1 at the time, and now he's 4. So that's, you know, a big, when we think of his life, it was, 3/4 of his life ago that he was last in a horse box. So that is a long, long time. But I thought, you know what, he was really good to load last time, really good to travel, like, especially as we're like, 3 hours away from World Horse Welfare, depending on traffic. You never know. UK roads, travelling, not always great. So anyway, the lady came, and I was a bit emotional. I was a bit sad. I was like having to give my baby away. It was only for a week. Esme, calm down. You go away on work trips longer than that sometimes, but just him not being at the yard, it felt so empty. I mean, there were still 3 wild horses kicking about, causing chaos and havoc, but there was one less little guy. But anyway, then it was time to lead him up. So I thought, let's make this the best, most positive experience. And Duke, if you didn't know, is very food motivated. So the lady that was gonna take him away, I was like, you can be the food lady if that's okay. I was like, here is his bucket full of Bailey's Low Cal Balancer. If you just walk ahead and I'll lead him, then I did feel like a creepy child catcher. What's it called? Is it the child capturer? Capture person, the creepy man in Chitty Bang Bang. That's what I felt like. I was like, come on, little baby, into the horse box, follow all the snacks we have. Do not get into cars or vehicles with strangers. That is just a little disclaimer there, but that's what I felt. I felt like I was being a creepy person, being like, come on, little Duke, follow the food. Anyway, you did not have to ask that horse twice. You did not have to even ask him once, because as soon as he saw that yellow food bucket with food in, he was chasing this poor lady down our driveway. I was having to hold him back like he was some sort of beast. He was piaffing on the spot. He was trotting. I was like, Duke, calm down. So when I tell you, that boy didn't even walk, he didn't even run, he leaped into that horse box like he was chasing his firstborn child. There was nothing stopping him getting in there, and I was like, perfect. That was easier than expected, because I wasn't sure what he was going to be like loading, but yeah, he jumped in. And then Duke, he is small, but he can make a lot of noise. And we kind of sometimes describe him as, if anybody watched the old Looney Tunes sort of cartoons, he is like the Tasmanian devil. He just sometimes turns into this little mini tornado. And as she was driving away, we could just hear this little Welshie like banging around in the back. Apparently he travelled very well, and there was no chaos, and it was just at the beginning where he might have knocked his food bucket over, and all the Bailey's Low Cal Balancer was just all over the floor, and he was a little snuffler and just snuffling up all of the food, and might have made a bit of noise while doing that. So anyway, one thing that me and my dad did notice, that when it came to feeding time in the morning, or what we call feeding time at the zoo, there was no little Welshie, he's got a little platform on his stable door where he can put his hooves on so he can poke his head over. But one question I do get asked a lot, or one thing I get told to do a lot, is like, oh my goodness, I can't believe you've not put a smaller door on Duke's stable for Duke. And I'm like, no. this is a health and safety thing. Duke has got a jump on him. He has got a leap. And if he had a smaller jaw, I would bet money on that he would jump over it. Like, that is a thing. So, because we put him in Mickey's stable the other day, because his stable had all been cleared out because we knew that he was going. We'd taken all the shavings out, let the mats kind of dry, and, you know, it was like a derelict zone, like a no Dukey zone. There was, like, we cleared out all his water buckets and things. So while we were waiting for the lady to arrive, we were like, perfect, we'll pop him in Mickey's stable, all good. Oh my goodness, this horse, this little guy, he put both his front hooves over the top of the stable door, because he's not used to having one like a little bit lower, because where his stable is, it's kind of on a bit of an angle. He put both his hooves over the front. I was like, oh my gosh, this poor woman is going to think, what is this wild child pony that I'm going to have to drive 3 hours all the way to World Horse Welfare with? Anyway, luckily, as I said, he was a good boy. It was all good. He was very calm. Apparently he fell asleep a little bit in the horse box as well. So all was well. And also, I felt like a little mum as well, getting little updates of my child, because World Horse Welfare filmed a little video of us, of him like being loaded out of the horse box, and he was all calm and was led off like a champ. I don't know, he had his head held high, he was strutting his stuff. He was like, guys, guess what? I'm back. So I assume there aren't any horses there that were still there from 3 years ago, because, well, hopefully they have been rehomed. But obviously a lot of the handlers and a lot of the volunteers there will be the same. So it was so lovely to see him like reunited with the people that took care of him for the first year of his life, basically, because if you didn't know, Duke was taken in to World Horse Welfare when he was only a few days old. He had around the clock care, he was bottle fed, so sometimes I do think he thinks he's a little bit of a human sometimes, because he had more of like a human mother than a horse mother. But anyway, he was orphaned, little baby. Anyway, so there we go. He arrived, and apparently he was good as gold the whole time, which makes my heart melt. We got loads of updates. They took him in the big indoor arena, and I've got a video of him seeing himself in the mirror for the first time, and it is adorable. I'm gonna have to post that on my socials at some stage, because it is just too cute. I'm just melting when I was getting all the Duke updates coming through. He also made a friend called Humbug that he went out in the paddock with, so that was super cute, and it was lovely to see them both. Apparently also Humbug was like, I want to be the dominant horse, and Duke was like, nah, sister, and was as sassy as can be. And that is one thing, when we got him from World Horse Welfare, they did say you can put him in a paddock with any horse. It could be an 18-hand Shire giant big boy stallion, and Duke would not care. He'd be like, he maybe has a little bit of little man syndrome, where he thinks that, you know, he can take anyone on, even though he is only about 11 hands high and is only 4 years old. But you know what? We don't have to tell him that. It's Duke's world. We're just living in it. So anyway, he was like, Humbug, no thank you. Here is my sass. Here is my bum. You're not the boss of me. Anyway, slay Duke. So he had a lovely time. We got lots of little updates of him having his little holiday, because the main thing that we wanted is for him to settle in, even though it's kind of like, I was going to say his previous home, World Horse Welfare, but I always like to say, no, Esme, you are his first home. We just looked after him for a little while, but he is your home. So anyway, but yes, so he settled in really well, and we wanted to make sure that he was all good after the journey, especially before the chaos of yesterday, where he got to meet lots of people. So at the beginning, he was like, oh my gosh, yes, people. And then, of course, in Duke fashion, food was first. So he was in like this area called the crew yard, which is basically like a little mini barn. He had this massive area that he'd go in that was full of straw. And he also had lots of like unlimited hay. So the whole time he was pretty much eating hay from his hay net. And there were a few people he came over, and Duke does this thing. And luckily a lot of you guys who came and met him know this already, but he will put his bum to you. And most people would say that like, oh my gosh, a horse is putting its bum to me, it's going to kick me. Oh, no. Duke, he does that. It means, please give me a bum scratch. So thank you to everybody who gave Duke a bum scratch and a head scratch and just scratches in general. That is his favourite thing. So, and also I apologise if he just stood there eating his haylage or hay and had his bum to you, because yeah, I can't lie, I mean, he does have a nice bum, but Duke, that is not what people want to see. They want to see your cute, adorable face. Anyway, there was one part like halfway through the day where he had his little afternoon nap, and oh my goodness. I don't really see my horses lie down that much because obviously they go to bed at night time and that's when they like to lie down. That's when they like to use their poo as a pillow and get absolutely filthy. But Duke, he had a busy day. He had a busy time, so he had a little midday post-lunch nap. And oh my gosh, you know, I don't know if anybody else is on this side of the internet, but I, for a while, was on the side of the internet where basically it was people filming their cats sleeping or going into what I'm going to call loaf mode, where they have all of their legs tucked up underneath them and even their tail as well tucked up underneath them. And they would rank on what scale of loaf they were. And if they were a 10 out of 10 loaf, all of their legs and everything was tucked underneath and they literally just looked like a cat in a loaf of bread kind of form. Oh my gosh, Duke, he was lying down in loaf mode. I was deceased. I thought I was going to cry. It was the cutest thing. And he was also like properly asleep. You know, when horses, they kind of like, they close their eyes and they kind of like, you can see them kind of nodding off and their head kind of start to go. Like, he was sound asleep in loaf mode. And I thought my heart was going to explode. It was adorable. And yeah, also got to meet all of you guys, and then he did wake up and did have some more scratchies after that, but he was so well behaved. And then I also, at the end of the day, I did a live Q&A where I was asked some questions, then you guys asked me some questions as well, so thank you to everyone who asked me questions. I also said, because there were so many of you that had so many questions, I'm going to have to do maybe like a Q&A podcast or a Q&A video on my channel at some stage, because there are a lot of questions from you guys, and I'm really sorry that we couldn't answer them all, but if you did ask them, thank you very much. And if you did come along, thank you very much. You were all so lovely. But yes, so I was doing this live Q&A in this indoor arena with all these people, and Duke was just walking around, and he was so good, so well behaved, because that is quite a big atmosphere, and he is only 4, and he has never done something like that. But he had his handler that he'd been working with for a week, and also he had done lots of desensitization training in the arena to get ready for the big day and to get ready for everything, and I'm just so proud of him. I just want to say a huge thank you to Wild Horse Welfare for very kindly hosting the meet and greet, and also to them for looking after my baby. It was also really nice. One of the head people there at the Glenda Spooner farm came up to me and my dad, and they were just like, I don't know, we both felt like parents on parents evening, or yeah, is it like people, yeah, parents evening, teacher parent evening, that kind of thing, where she was just like saying all these lovely things about Duke and how well we'd like done all his handling and in-hand training, because we did only take him on when he just turned 1, and they wanted to make sure, like, we had to basically do all these tests to make sure that, number 1, we were the right home for him, and number 2, that we were good enough to continue his education on the ground and make sure that he has good ground manners. And oh my goodness, we were just like, our hearts were melting. I felt like that's the quote of the podcast, my heart was melting. But we were both there just like, oh, like hearing all these lovely things about him and saying how well we'd been looking after him, and oh, it just made me so happy. But anyway, he is not home yet. He's got a few more days to just decompress after the busy day, and then he'll be making his journey home. So I'm sure all the horses are going to be so excited when he comes home, because for a while Joey went through this thing where every time he went out in the field or went out in his paddock, he was like looking over at Mickey and Duke's paddock like, where is the little one? Where is he? Where has he gone? Where is my little guy? Because obviously Duke and Joey, they actually do get along very well. They're like besties also. Casper could not care. Casper lives in his own world. He does not care about anyone else unless you're in the Casper club. But yeah, Casper and Duke, they're not as much besties. Although actually, Casper did escape a few, was it last winter? I think it was last winter. A friend of mine was looking after the horses while I was away, and there was just this picture of Casper in the Mickey and Duke's paddock, and we were like, you're not supposed to be there. So obviously Casper must like them enough to go into their paddock, although I think it was to steal their haylage, so maybe not. Maybe he was just thinking food first. But Duke was standing very close to Casper and seemed like he was like, hello, big brother, I love you, I want to be your friend, please be my friend. And Casper was just like, I'm just here eating my food. Anyway, I feel like I've talked a lot about Duke in today's episode, so on to my other horses, on to electric fence disasters, because that's probably what you all want to hear. Alright, let me set the scene. I was taking Casper into his paddock. The electric fence was off because I was putting Casper in his paddock. I kept the electric fence off because I knew that my dad was coming along with Joey to put him in his paddock. Now, we had a bit of a miscommunication. So our paddocks, we give them numbers and letters. So we have paddock 1, paddock 2, paddock 3, paddock 4 along the kind of like left-hand side of our stables. So at the moment, the Casper and Joey have been going in paddock 2 and paddock 3. And then on the other side, we have paddock A, which is Mickey and Duke's paddock. And then we have paddock B, which is the one next to Mickey and Duke's paddock. Okay, I hope this is making sense. I thought, because I put Casper in paddock 2, that Joey would be going in paddock 3. Oh, no. Apparently, he was going in paddock B, which has more grass, because every now and again we put him in there to let him have some grassy time, because Casper is not allowed grassy time, because if not, he will explode. So anyway, so I didn't realise this at this stage. So my dad says to me, oh, I'm taking Joey down to his paddock. Is the electric fence off? And I said, oh yeah, because I've just put Casper in his one. I thought he would get the gist that the paddocks on the left-hand side, the numbered ones, the electric fence was not on. Dad goes down to paddock B with Joey, which is on. And what does he do? He touches the electric fence, gets a massive shock, and I hear this humongous scream. And I'm like, what has gone on? What is this chaos? And then I have a very angry dad, which is like, you said the electric fence was off, and I went and touched it, and now I've been zapped by the electric fence. Why didn't you just turn it off? And I was like, dude, I didn't know that he was going in paddock B. Paddock B is not the normal paddock for this week. You should have told me that. So we had a little bit of a miscommunication. So I got very badly told off. Well, not really, because I'm the boss. But it was quite funny. I found it very funny. Did Joey get zapped or was he okay? He was okay. Joey did not get zapped, so do not worry. No horses were zapped by the electric fence. Only my dad. So he doesn't sound very, very happy about that. But you know what? It woke him up. Kept him on his toes. No, I'm joking. I do feel very bad. But next time, we have learnt that when we are moving horses to their paddocks, we need to make sure that we specify which paddock we are talking about. I'm just saying, if he had been using his listening ears, he would have heard that I said, yes, because I've just put Casper in his paddock and I haven't turned it back on yet. Surely he would know that I was meaning about paddock 3. But obviously not. So there we go. There have been a few times where I've been zapped by the electric fence. To be fair, our electric fence, as you guys know, Casper's been going through a little electric fence escape-eating kind of phase. And did he escape again yesterday, even though the electric fence was on? Yes, he did. I don't know how. I don't know what. But anyway, so we were driving home from Wild Horse Welfare last night, and I got a call from my mum being like, "Ooh, I've just looked over at the horses, and Casper is in Joey's paddock." So while we're away, every now and again, my mum will, check up on the horses, make sure that they're all good, make sure that even though they have grass in their paddock, we like to make sure that they have a bit of haylage as well, because, anyway, just to keep them happy, especially on days where we're away, we want to make sure that they are all happy, full bellies, that kind of thing. And my mum was like, oh, I checked during, lunchtime, I saw in the field that there was still loads of haylage left, I saw 2 horses, all good. We think that Casper must have escaped at the beginning of the day, and it wasn't even for food, because he had 2 haylage nets in his paddock, didn't eat them, decided to escape, either jump over the fence, go under it, I don't know how, into Joey's paddock, and luckily, they did used to go out together before their dietary requirements changed, and we do have to keep them separate for dietary reasons and for health reasons. Casper is getting a little bit chunkier, and we've got to make sure that he doesn't have as much food as Joey. But anyway, it was fine yesterday, it was all good. They were both very happy, and we came home, we were like, Casper, you're not supposed to be here. And we know that he probably escaped at the beginning of the day because his 2 haylage nets were full. So he wasn't even escaping to get Joey's food. It was obviously bromance, just feeling a bit left out, wanted to go and join him. I mean, they're in paddocks next door to each other, and they can groom each other over the fence. Because I'm very much like, all horses need to have a friend, they can't be out on their own, that kind of thing. But yeah, they were just chilling. two bros chilling in their paddock together. So there we go. In the winter, when the grass isn't as sugary, because Casper is very prone to laminitis, we do normally put those two boys together, because again, I always like my horses to be together and being like a little herd. But again, dietary reasons, Casper, we don't want to risk laminitis because that can be fatal. We do not want that. We don't want any poorly Caspies. So yes, anyway, there we go. That was our little story of them two escaping. But all was well. All was well. Next up, I thought I would talk to a spontaneous concert trip that I went to with a few friends. Now, the artist that I went to go and see, if you didn't know, I don't know. I feel like people are very judgy of music tastes and things, or of people, because I don't want to be like, oh yeah, I love this artist, and then I find out in like a few years' time, actually they've been cancelled, and then somebody listens to this podcast, but like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you support someone who does that kind of thing. But anyway, so I went to a Declan McKenna concert, and I was really excited. So if you don't know who he is, you'll probably know his song Brazil that went like viral online. I'm not going to sing it to you because I don't want... No, I don't want to sing it to you. I'm going to sing it in a bad singing voice, then you don't actually judge my singing. I heard you live down the river somewhere, 6 miles and grizzly bear. No. That's all you're getting. No. Okay. Definitely probably said some words wrong. But I had a great time. I did do my revision beforehand. Although I don't want people like she's a fake fan. But when you're going to a concert, you gotta like just like the 2 weeks before at the very least, all you listen to is that artist's music. You got to listen to all of their albums because you don't know what songs are going to pop up. You don't know if there's going to be like a little mystery one. But anyway, I had a great time, and I tell you what. It was the most random concert ever, because I'm pretty sure he was playing at like Broadmasters or some sort of, big UK music festival over in like Cornwall somewhere, like literally the day after. And I was like, this is so random, especially as the place that I went and saw it at was a little seaside town that, when I tell you this seaside town, it's not like Brighton. It's not a cool place to be. It's not the hip, young, if you are over the age of 18, then if you live in this seaside town, you just leave. And I know that because my friend went to school there, and she had a lot of friends that used to live in this little cute seaside town, and they have all left. I'd say the average age of that seaside town is probably about 65, or maybe even 70, 80, because basically it's one of those seaside towns where a lot of people who maybe lived in the city or live in towns, and they're like, you know what I want to do when I retire? I want to go and live by the sea. So it's one of those seaside towns. So the population is either families with children or old people. So if you're over the age of 18, you've probably moved out, gone somewhere else, gone to uni, that kind of thing, because my friend went to school there. So when I went to this concert, I thought, Declan McKenna concert, most of his audience are probably, I don't know, in their mid-20s, that kind of thing. When we arrived at this concert, because also just to set the scene, it was in a like art gallery. It wasn't even in like a proper concert like place, so it was very random. I don't know if maybe he's got family or friends there and was just like, yeah, we'll go there, because he is a pretty big artist. But it was honestly, it was one of the best concerts I've been to. But when we first arrived, it felt like we had walked into a sports hall for like a primary school disco, because all the lights were on, and also most of the people there were probably, I would say, like UK college age. So in the UK, you finish secondary school or high school at 16, and then you have 2 years of sixth form college. So I'd say most people were probably like sixth form college age, so 16 to 18. And as someone who's 23, I felt quite old, I can't lie. So we all arrived there and we're like, oh, what in the school disco is going on here? Anyway, when the lights turned off, it was all good. And like the atmosphere, the vibes were incredible. So the way that it kind of worked is it was basic. You could have some seats like right at the back, but most people I'd say that were there were on the floor. And there was like, for a small little hall, there was like a full-on mosh pit at one stage. That was really good fun. Actually, where I am, because I sometimes get quite overwhelmed. I am a bit claustrophobic, and in a big crowd like that, it can sometimes be a little much for me, you know. So most concerts, actually I think all concerts I've been to, apart from a Little Mix one when I was younger, back in the day, that was a long time ago. That was my first concert. I think all of them have been seated, actually, mainly because they are often seated is cheaper because you're not as close to the artist. I don't know, maybe that's just the ones I've been to. But anyway, so it was really cool because they had these two little bits on the sides, almost like wings, where you were a little bit higher than everyone else, and not as many people stood there because they all wanted to get close to the stage. But actually, I had the best view there, standing there, because I could see everyone in the crowd. I didn't have people touching me, which was great because sometimes, you know, when you all get squished together, that would freak me out a little bit. And I could see Declan up there on the stage perfectly. And oh my gosh, the vibes for some of the songs. There's this trend at the moment, and if you know what I mean, you're going to be like, yes, I know what you mean. Or if not, you're going to be like, no. But anyway, there's a trend at the moment going around. I was trying to explain this to my dad, and most things, as you guys know, my dad is a girl dad. Like, he is down with all the trends. He knows about all of the TikTok girlies, that kind of thing. Anyway. What? Yes, you are. I did a whole podcast about you listening to Sabrina Carpenter. But like, anyway, he loves it really. Anyway, so I was trying to explain to him there's this trend at the moment. It's like, my favorite animal is, and it's like, I don't know, someone just like going wild, if that's like, my favorite animal is me when I'm hungry, or that kind of thing. So anyway, there was this one, I was watching loads of stuff online to get excited for the concert, and somebody said my favorite animal is Declan McKenna performing this one song. And they're like, if he's not going absolutely wild when he's performing this song, then anyway. So, but can I just say, his performance was incredible, especially for like a small little seaside town in this little art gallery performing. Like, I thought, you know, maybe he'll do it like a little bit half effort because there's not really that many of us. But he went for it for every single song, and it was incredible. So also, very random, I was talking to one of the ladies from Pony Mag the other day, and she was like, yeah, I went to that concert as well, because I was like, oh, I'm going to a concert tonight. And she was like, oh my gosh, is it the Declan McKenna one? And I was like, yeah. She was like, oh my gosh, I saw him the other week and he was great. So there we go. If you get the opportunity, would recommend. But anyway, that is my concert story for today. That is the podcast for today. Sorry, I've done a really awkward outro. But if you enjoyed it, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you to Red Post for sponsoring the podcast, and I will keep you updated. See you next time. Bye.